what's good, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of Men's Classic Physique. Got a preview of the Toronto Pro in Men's Classic Physique with Canadian IFBB Classic Physique Pro, Cody Amey. Cody, thanks for joining the show, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. We got a hell of a lineup here, and I'm glad I got Cody here to preview it with me. Cody is just recently coming off a good showing at the Pittsburgh Pro. Cody also has placed top 5 in a number of classic pro shows, is a fantastic pro himself. So he brings a lot of expertise into the table when we're previewing these guys and just, kind of talking about the lineup and making picks. So very well informed when making these predictions. So before we get rolling with everything, want to make sure we give Cody a shout out and show where you guys can find him on socials. All right, so here's Cody's Instagram. You can find him here. It's Cody_Amey. And make sure you guys use all of his codes right here and support him. So we got the Toronto Pro, like I mentioned. If you guys want to live stream the show, it's going to be this upcoming Sunday, June 9th. Prejudging is set to begin at 10 a.m. Eastern time, finals at 3 Eastern. And there are other pro divisions, so it's going to, be tentative times. As you guys know, with bodybuilding, everything's approximate. So these are approximate times for prejudging and finals beginning. But I would just tune in at those times if you want to see the classic guys. And if you guys want to purchase that live stream, you can get the full day for $60, or if you just want to look at prejudging or finals separately, it's $40 a piece for those. You can find that here. I'll put that down in the description as well so you guys can find it. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the lineup, and then at the end, Cody and I are going to make our picks for our top 5. So without further ado, we've got 11 Alexiou out of Canada, Alfredo Anaya out of Mexico, Tony Koch, Luca Corrado, Blake Corse, Niall Darwin, Gregory Dawson, Alan Garcia, Jorge Guerrero, Edgard John Augustine, better known as Bionic Body, Kenyon Leno, Andrea Mamoli, Bobby Mazzaro, Herman Pastor, Mike Riley, Sich Sock, Jimmy Serrard, and Terrence Teo. A couple of surprising additions to this lineup. I was kind of intrigued to see Herman Pastor. We'll get to him, but the guy out of Spain, and then also Terrence Teo from Malaysia. Those guys have competed already this year on the other side of the world, so it's going to be pretty dope to see them here in Canada competing. So without further ado, we got our first competitor here. This is Evan Alexiou out of Canada. So Evan is making his pro debut, and Evan is a recent IFBB pro, so he turned pro just about 2 years ago. And these are some recent shots. Got this nice side chest here. Cody, just looking at this side chest, what are some things that stand out to you, man?
Definitely the ham glute development into the quad. Not a lot of guys. I mean, he's, a new pro. So to have that right away in that lower body half, and then his side chest, that one pec has some really good striations coming across the chest like that. Some guys usually are shallow in there. So yeah, the side chest actually for him is actually one of probably his better shots, I would say.
Yeah, definitely a good shot. Lots of density. I think these are 4 weeks out. It's always hard to tell when it's this far out in terms of like what you're going to get, because 4 weeks out versus stage is night and day, of course.
Yeah, I got his stuff pulled up here just so just our connection's a little fuzzy on my end, so I can see them much clearer through my phone. But
okay.
Yeah, I got looking at the 4 weeks out here, and yeah, he's pretty balanced. Just overall, I think just needs to bring more size, and I think that will just come with time, just like anyone. But all his shots are pretty balanced.
Yeah, good structure, good midsection. Yeah. Lines are there. I think really solid guy. Again, like you said, it's going to come with time, just more size, but very classic and looks pretty solid.
And these pictures that we're looking at are 4 weeks out. So, come game day, obviously we're going to see him in shape, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
Evan Alexiou making his pro debut out of Canada. Next up, we got another pro debut. This is Alfredo Anaya out of Mexico. This is a guy who I think is structurally very gifted. This one is about a week and a half out. So I think up top, like, has fantastic width. I think he's a shorter guy, but like the lats look great. Arms look very solid as well. Alfredo's definitely one of those guys to watch out for because structurally he's very good. Cody,
Yeah,
just looking at some of these shots, what do you think, man?
yeah, for sure. I mean, again, he's another guy that he's well balanced head to toe. When he hits his shots, everything's there. I've been looking at this one shot here. He's pulling back. He's doing the Christmas tree. He's got a really good Christmas tree. Like the lats are all strided all the way up. So he's he hit the Arnold pose there. So yeah, no, he's a well balanced classic physique competitor for sure. And I'm going to be there in person, so it'll be nice to see him on stage and see what he brings on the final day for show day. So yeah,
Yeah, it looks very solid. So that's Alfredo Anaya out of Mexico making his pro debut. Next up, we got a Canadian who I know you've shared the stage with. This is Tony Koch.
yeah,
I like
he was in
structure a lot.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, somebody else who I mentioned him the other day. Oh, I think Tyler Johnson. He was like really excited about his physique. He was just saying like how good a physique he has and stuff. And these pictures actually look much improved than this is one day ago. So yeah, his
Mhm.
physique's improved a lot since Pittsburgh. So and again, like I mean, look at he's got the arms, the quads, small waist. Yeah, I'm excited to see Tony as well. And he's a Canadian guy, so I'm always rooting for my Canadian guys.
Yeah, structurally, he's just extremely gifted. Like, and I know he's such a hard worker too. Like, the condition was not quite where it needed to be at Pittsburgh, but like,
Mhm.
I mean, he looks a good like 10% sharper, which
He
could move.
is. I think Pittsburgh. I think he was just the timing of it was maybe a little too soon, and now it looks like he's on time. So you're going to see the best version of Tony this weekend. He was super nice to me in Pittsburgh. He came up to me in athletes meeting and just wanted to introduce himself and stuff. I've never met him before, and he was super nice guy. So again, it'll be nice to see him live in action on home turf in Toronto.
Yeah, so that's Tony Koch out of Canada. Next up, we've got Luca Corrado out of Italy. So Luca is definitely one of those guys who's not afraid to compete. This was last year at Mr. Big Evolution. He's kind of one of those guys who's floated in between like the 5 to 10 placings in a lot of these European shows. He did Pittsburgh last year. I think he was like 11th, something like that at that show. Really nice guy. Like I've had the chance to talk to him in person. You know, just super great guy. Loves bodybuilding. We'll just take a look at some of these shots from Portugal. Cody, what do you think some of Luca's strengths are?
Strengths definitely his legs. I mean, his legs are nice and pushing hard, even from the back. They had a back shot just there. His glutes are strided, definitely. Yeah, I mean, when classic guys have a nice set of legs, you can't really go wrong. And then just he's in shape here too. He's pushing pretty hard with conditioning. So yeah, if he comes fuller up top, he's one of those guys that can push the lineup
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
definitely a bigger guy too. He's got like very wide clavicles as well. So, one of those guys who if he comes in on and he's made improvements in his offseason, I think he could, surprise some people. And the conditions there,
Yeah.
that's a week ago. This was 2 weeks out. And he's
Yeah, that's good.
really
That's
healed.
good. Hopefully his coach fills him up. There was a front double that you just posted where he was out on the water there, and you could see how much fuller his upper body was. And if he can bring that to the stage, I think he'll be one of those guys, pushing that top call up for sure. Yeah, see the arms, the chest is all fuller, abs are pushing harder. Um, if his upper body could match his lower half in on the stage shots, I think that's going to be a good look for him for sure.
Yeah, agreed. So that's Luca Corrado out of Italy. Next up, we've got Canadian Olympian Blake Course. So Blake last appeared at the 2022 Olympia. He won the Savannah Pro that year to qualify. And Blake is one of those guys who's extremely structurally gifted. So these are the most recent updates. These are from this afternoon. So
Yeah.
just 4 days out. Cody,
Yeah.
what are some strengths that Blake brings to the table?
Uh, Blake had a tremendous break and took some serious time off, and obviously you can see the amount of muscle that he's gained. I mean, when he's hitting all his shots, everything's there. You know, the chest is there, the ham glute tie-in is there, the quads are there, small waist, chest is popping off. You know, and I'm sure he's flat here. I know they just arrived to him and his coach because he was down with his coach. So I believe they just got back today. But Blake does have a very good structure in that sense, but he's put on a lot of size. So I think Blake's going to be one of those guys that's going to be hard to beat this weekend for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's definitely a contender here. There's no doubt about it. And this was the shot that really convinced me. I mean, I knew Blake like even without having him improved his back, which is he's been working on for the entirety of the offseason. Like I knew even without that he would be kind of in that, top call out. But
Yeah.
like this looks way better to me than the last time we
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah, no, and it's gonna, and they keep improving every single day. You know, his coach is right by his side, which is super important, and they keep getting better and better every day. So I think we're gonna on Sunday, it's just gonna be that much better. Obviously, excited to see
Yeah,
it.
me too, man. So that's Blake Course out of Canada. Next up, we've got Niall Darwin out of the UK. So these are the most recent updates we have from Niall. So he is a pretty new pro, and he turned pro back in 2022. He won the British Championships and then turned right around about a month later, did the Arnold UK, didn't place well there just because I think, the muscle was still needing to be put on. And he's put on a ton of size. Like his offseason was crazy productive. He works with Callum Raystrick, Callum Pro Coaches. Many of you guys know him. Like these shots are crazy, Cody. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, very impressive. I mean, the guy's got next to no waist and big flaring quads. Again, chest jumps off his um, rib cage there, and not lacking in arms, not lacking in shoulders. Everything's nice and round. But the backside, the back shot for him is very impressive. You know, those glutes are striated top to bottom, and I'm excited to see him on stage as well, just because of his structure. And then next to somebody like Blake, who has probably a little more size, but because his what's his name again? I know him by First Punch by his IG, but
Yeah, Niles is his first name.
not Niles. So yeah, I'm excited to see him next to somebody that has like a bigger structure, and he has a little probably smaller structure, but in a sense, it's that illusion that Niles creating that looks so impressive, right? Like that quarter turn like that with how his waist is, and he's got like an 8-pack is he's got a very, very impressive physique. So when you see a physique like this, they can usually expose a lot of the other guys' physique on stage.
No weak shots. That's that's for
No,
certain.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, Niall's one of those guys who is again just a great dude and loves bodybuilding, loves the process, and it shows in his work. Like this is extremely impressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. This is his first time competing in North America, so I think it's going to be a really solid first appearance over here. So best of luck to Niall Darwin. Next up, we've got another Canadian who you also know. This is Greg Dawson. So, Cody, what are some of the standout points in Greg's physique?
Greg overall structurally has a very impressive physique, um, top to bottom. Also, I really like Greg's posing. He poses like a classic bodybuilder, which is always impressive. When some guys come to stage and they're not hitting classic shots or look classic, it's very tough to kind of give them the credit that they deserve. So Greg does hit some very nice classic shots with his structure. I would like Greg to push that conditioning just a little more, and I just think Greg would just be pushing the lineup that much more. So I hope he brings that to Toronto. But overall, like Greg's legs, Greg his small waist. You know, he has that chest. And then obviously, you know, just when you his tan with Greg being his skin tone, it's very impressive in that sense. You know, I stood next to Greg in Pittsburgh, and you know, it was a good battle, and you know, Greg's a good friend of mine, so I'm excited to see him on Sunday.
Yeah, he looks fantastic, man. I really just like his structure, like you highlighted, just very classic looking. His muscle bellies are just like, you know, very clean, just like one of those guys who has like a very aesthetic look, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on stage for sure. So that's Greg Dawson. Next up, we've got Alan Mariano. So he is Mexican American, I believe, and Alan's done pretty well at some of these shows. This was his last appearance. This was the Mexican Grand Battle Pro. I'm trying to find some better stage shots of this, um, but definitely one of those guys who like pushes the condition. This was, I think, just before that show. um, I know we're kind of looking at these are pre-stage photos, but Cody, looking at some of these, what do you think of Alan's physique, man?
Again, he's balanced, you know, head to toe. I mean, I'm sure he's put on some size from this post here, but you know, that's a good front lat spread there. His legs are peeled in this shot, so I just his overall flow is complete, and yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about him, but it'll be he's another good guy. He comes in shape, you know. You can get that, you know, top call out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he could be somewhere in that, you know, fringe of first call out, maybe, you know, kind of fighting for center or second call out if he brings something comparable to this, maybe with some additional improvements. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. So that's Alan Mariano. Next up, we've got Jorge Guerrero out of Mexico. So this was his last appearance at New York. I don't believe he made the top 10, but he's very, very conditioned. Like that's his calling card is condition, good width. This is a front double
That's
from
a
that
great shot.
show. Yeah. What stands out to you, Cody?
First his conditioning, and second his color, and that's what I was trying to say about Greg. Is like, look at the his skin tone takes really good. Um, it when they apply the tanning, it's very important that the body kind of soaks it in, and you can see obviously here, just like it takes really well. So like if he's in shape, he literally looks like he's, you know, a statue. So this is super important. Like for me personally, like 3 to 4 weeks out, I'll start tanning before stage, and each person's skin tone obviously will help. You know, once they get the tan, you know, if a guy's really pasty white and he gets the tan, he almost ends up looking orange, because that's almost when you put white on, it just like doesn't get as as brown, right? So here, like I really like his skin tone, and then obviously he's in shape, so he's he looks really good. But yeah, small waist, good flaring quads, and he knows how to hit shots that present his body well, you know?
Yeah,
So
and Jorge's
yeah.
done well at big shows before, so it's definitely not out of the question to see him kind of in the mix here. I mean, he very well could. It just depends how he stacks up next to some of these other guys. So that's Jorge Guerrero out of Mexico. Next up, we've got Bionic Body, Edgar John Augustine out of, it's listed as UAE. I guess, you know, he's based out of Dubai now, but I do believe he's French. So this is from last year's New York Pro. And
Yeah.
I think like structurally fantastic. Like he's got great lines too.
Yeah.
Um, like
I think I
superb.
think he was at the Toronto Pro when
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he
no.
did run last year.
Yeah, last year, right?
Yeah, yeah, he definitely did. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Man.
Yeah. He did. He was at the gym the other day. I saw him. He's such a nice guy. He's put on some size since that last video that we just saw. So he's
Mhm.
definitely made some improvements since his last showing at Toronto. I don't know if he's competed since then, but I saw him at the gym the other day, and he looks great.
Yeah, here's Toronto. This is from last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he looks great, man. I've always been very impressed with him and like his lines. And he's such a tall guy, so it's so hard to fill out legs when you're that tall. Like he is. I don't think people realize until you've like seen him in person. He's a mountain of a man. Like,
He
and when
he
you're
actually
that
is. He
tall,
was standing. We all know how big Quentin is, and they were
yeah,
talking yesterday, and I was just standing there watching them talk, and he's big next to Quentin. I'm not saying he's bigger than Quentin, but how tall he is and how his structure, how width he has, it's like it's very impressive. Standing beside Quentin, it's not the easiest thing. So to stand beside Quentin and be like, holy shit, that guy's big too. So it's pretty impressive.
yeah. So that is Bionic Body, based out of the UAE via France. Next up, we got this is, I believe, I'm gonna have to refresh his name. This is Kenyon Leno. So he's making his classic debut. So these are, I know he competes in men's physique as a pro,
Yeah.
and really solid physique. You got to have a specific look to be good at men's physique, and it's translating over here to classic with the side chest and the back double.
Agreed. Yeah, he's got really good arms, and he's got that glute tie-in into the hamstring. That's not everyone just has that. Sometimes that's a genetic thing, or sometimes you've worked for it, but he has it. So it'll be good to see him what kind of conditioning he brings on Sunday. But props to him, man, for jumping into classic at a men's physique. You gotta respect that for sure.
Yeah, so that's Kenyon Leno. Next up, we've got Andrea Mamoli out of Italy. This was another surprise addition for me to see. He is a rookie pro who, in his pro debut in Hungary, was in the top four, I believe. And I think he could have even been, top two, top three in that show, depending on who the judges were, because, there's a lot of variance in the European judging, just given they have so many different judges who prefer different things there. And,
Yeah.
Andrea structurally is very good.
He's
Very
very good. Yeah, he knows how to pose to his physique. He does obviously he's very classic in his poses, but he knows how to display his physique in a way that's very impressive. And then obviously when you bring the conditioning, which is super important, and you're hitting these shots, it's just very impressive.
Yeah, and I think he could do very well and surprise some people. Like this guy could be first call out if the judges like the aesthetic look. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but shape wise, he matches up extremely well. So
Yeah,
I'll be intrigued to kind
agreed.
of see where he lands in this lineup. But that's Andrea Mamoli out of Italy. Next up, we got Bobby Mazzara. So this is his second pro appearance. This was from his pro debut in New York. He turned pro at Universe last year. And Cody, just looking at some of these shots, man, what stands out to you about Bobby?
I saw him actually. I watched the New York Pro. I live streamed it, and I saw him come out. Um, I like how he took his time with his posing, and it was impressive. There, he looks like a wider guy. I don't know how short or tall he is, but hamstring, glute tie-in's good. Back double guy, biceps good. He's opening up nice. But yeah, I was always impressed with guys that can take their time when they're posing and being able to display their physique. So it shows confidence, right? And that's key when you're getting on that stage. That's a good shot for him. Nice classic shot. He's got that good quad where it like pops right off in the middle of the leg. But yeah, excited to see him.
Yeah, I think Bobby could do well just depending on where his condition is. That's been the big question for me. It wasn't bad condition in New York, but there were some dogs in that lineup who just showed up like out of their mind
Yes.
field. So
Yeah, I mean, you had the top call out from Pittsburgh roll right into New York, right? That didn't change much. That top call out, right? Besides one and
yeah,
two, it was pretty much the same top 6 or 7 there. So
yeah. So that's Bobby Mazzara out of the USA. Next up, the biggest surprise when I saw this lineup initially was this guy, Herman Pastor out of Spain. This is the most accomplished bodybuilder in this lineup. The guy's been to the Olympia multiple times. He won a few pro shows last year. This is from the German Classic Pro. Now he has not won a show yet this year. I think this is his third pro appearance just this year. He was second at the California Spain Pro And then at this German Classic Pro, there was kind of some judging that was called into
I heard
question by
about that.
and some other
I heard,
people where, you had a
yeah,
lot of guys who, might have had good structure, but they weren't conditioned, they didn't have size, and placed ahead of him, which like this is not an eighth place physique to me.
no, not at all. I mean, everybody was up in arms about that show. I briefly saw it on IG on how people were upset with some of the call outs, and yeah, him sitting in the set call out. It's like, how many heavy hitters were in front of him, so
Yeah, but this guy's fantastic. Like condition is always there, like just crazy shredded, very good structurally, very dense. Like muscle maturity is great as well. You can tell he's been training a long time. He knows his strengths. And I think this guy has to be in the conversation for, battling for the win. He's that good.
yeah, no, he has got. I mean, you can see his condition. He's got striated lats, striated glutes, striated hamstrings, not just good hamstrings. Those are striated, and then when he does hit that back double, everything lights up: the shoulders, the arms, and it's a really impressive back double. And all his poses when he goes through, it's not like he's just hitting the mandatory poses. He's hitting some hard classic poses, and he looks good in them.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic, and I'm excited to see him on a stage over here, man. I can't remember if he's competed over here yet, other than the Olympia, but like, I'm glad he's getting out here and seeing some judges over here just because, I think he's got a great physique. So that is Herman Pastor. Next up, we got Mike Riley making his pro debut. So this guy is a hell of an athlete. He played college football at Iowa, I believe, and played linebacker in the NFL. So like this guy is, super impressive in terms of
That's
like
awesome.
his body of work. He sent me these updates. So these were, I think he sent me these on Tuesday. So these would have been 5 days out. So
Yeah.
here's ab and thigh right here. Um, ab and thigh, and then we got a front relax. I really like it. Like he's got really solid structure, man.
Nope, definitely for classic. I mean, small waist, good flaring quads, and he just needs to eat into the show and fill that frame out. He'll be good to go. And he's also a doctor, right?
Yeah, he's a doctor of he's a chiropractor. Yeah,
Nice. So that's always impressive too. I don't know how many pros that played in the NFL that are pro, that are doctor. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Good for him.
yeah, super nice guy too, man. I know he's really flat in these shots, so like I'll be really interested to
Yeah,
see kind of what happens to his physique. And the lighting here is like very suboptimal. So like,
yeah.
in
No,
front
you
of
throw
stage
you throw
lighting,
like Yeah. You throw 800 grams of carbs at this guy, put a tan on him, and give him a pump, he'll be good to go.
yeah, he's gonna look great. I have a strong feeling Mike's gonna do pretty well in his pro debut
That's
here.
awesome.
This is another pro debut. So this is Sitch Sock out of Canada. So he is a Masters Classic Physique Pro. I think he turned pro in 2022 at Canadian Nationals, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely looks like a bigger guy too. Actually, he might have turned pro. He turned pro in bodybuilding, but
Okay.
at the 2023 Canadian Nationals. Okay,
So
so
it looks like he turned no, okay, so yeah, he turned pro in bodybuilding and then he
yeah,
was holding okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Right on.
yeah, but very very impressive from a muscularity perspective. I think these were from when he was an amateur. Um,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
maybe
34.
maybe he did the Toronto Pro last year, but regardless, I think he's got great legs. The legs are
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely good legs. And if he brings his pushes the conditioning a little more, he'll have a solid placing at Toronto for sure.
Yeah. So that is Sitch Sock out of Canada. And next up, we got Jimmy Serrard out of Canada as well. So he's a French Canadian. Gonna see what our most recent update is from him. I'm gonna refresh. I might have missed one of his most recent posts to see if we got any new updates. No,
Yeah,
nothing
I
new,
feel like
but
I feel like these guys are giving us a tough time. There's nothing recent on a lot of these guys. You're getting stuff sent to you. If you didn't have stuff sent to you, we wouldn't have
Oh, that was just
much to look
Mike.
at.
Mike's the real MVP for sending me that stuff.
Oh,
He
good
knows we
job,
do
Mike.
these previews, and he was like, "I want to make it easy on you and Cody." So,
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. But yeah, no, not a lot of these guys are putting updates up like crazy. But no, this guy's. I saw him. He came across my IG feed today. I saw his back double bicep. Very good back double bicep. He's got some crazy width on him. I'm sure he's flat in a lot of these pictures, so he's probably one of those guys that actually, when he fills out, is going to look pretty impressive on stage. I always like that shot. That's one of my favorite classic shots, and he looks good there. See the lat jumps off the side of the rib cage there, and good bicep, good quad. Yeah, be good to see him.
yeah, he's really good too, man. He turned pro at North Americans a couple years ago, and I mean, it was basically him and that. So that whole lineup at the North Americans who turned pro. I mean, it was like him. It was Dylan Bursey, um, Ben. I'm trying to remember Ben's last name, but like all guys who have placed, top three in a pro show. Mike
Yeah,
Sanchez, like guys who are really good. And Jimmy's making his pro debut here, and Jimmy held his own in that lineup. So I mean,
that's
Jimmy's
awesome.
very structurally gifted, and it looks like he's put on a lot of size. So I think he'll do pretty great here.
Yeah, I mean that these pics are 8 weeks ago, and that's pretty good conditioning for 8 weeks ago. So I'm sure he's gonna bring it pretty good on Sunday. That's awesome. That front double bicep you just had up too is another good shot for him.
Yeah, just very, very good. So
Yeah,
that's
like
Jimmy
that's a
Sorrell.
that's a good shot at 8 weeks ago. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm sure he's a lot tighter and it'll be good.
and our final competitor here is Terrence Teo. So, longtime men's physique competitor. He's based out of Malaysia, and he's one of those guys who always brings the condition. So, this was from the Taiwan Pro last year. He's done a couple of shows this year, but hasn't done super well. Um,
Yeah,
see if we can get some of these here. This is really good footage. I think his muscularity is very, very good, especially for a guy who came up from men's physique. I
yeah,
do think
for sure.
his upper body, in terms of the condition, can sometimes come in before the legs do. So
Right.
to me, if the legs come in this show, like he's gonna hold his own in terms of size. I've got some tagged photos of him, I know for sure.
Yeah,
So he
he was.
did.
He's another guy that's at the gym right now at Pure Muscle. I saw him yesterday, and he's actually a pretty big guy in person for classic physique.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was
he's got lots of
walking.
width, like dense muscle, man. He looks
Yeah,
really good.
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's Terrence Teo out of Malaysia, and that's our full classic physique lineup. And now we're going to get to the best part of the show. This is our top 5 predictions. So Cody and I are going to give our predictions for the top 5. I've got the lineup pulled up right here, and I'm just making sure that I have my top 5 like dead set. This is a really tough one, guys. I know. So Cody and I were talking before we started recording, and like there are some
it's not
really
easy.
interesting matchups here.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. It's not easy.
so Cody, since you're the special guest, I'll give you the option. Would you like to go first with the picks, or would you like me to go first?
um, you can go. I was already thinking. You can go first. I was already thinking of that. You
All
go
right.
first.
All right. Sounds good, man. So, all right. So let me make sure. Okay. So I got.
I've got it pulled up on my phone the list too, so I could
Okay.
see.
I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got my 5. All right. We're ready to roll. So I'm gonna go here in 5th place. I'm gonna go with Tony Koch. I think Tony structurally is extremely gifted. His condition and his lines are going to be there. Like that was the one thing from Pittsburgh that wasn't quite where it needed to be, but like he can present his physique well and is structurally one of the best guys in this lineup. I think he compares very favorably here. So I think Tony's going to do pretty well. In fourth place in his pro debut, I'm actually going to go to Jimmy Sirard. I think Jimmy is really like structurally gifted. And it looks like he's put on a ton of size since he turned pro. I think he's going to just stand out aesthetically in terms of, being compared with some of these other guys. He's also, I know he turned pro in Class C. I don't know how tall he is specifically, but in Class C, you're going to probably be taller than most guys in classic physique. So he's definitely over 5'10". So I believe I believe Class C is it's over 5'10" and under 6'1" or maybe 6'2". So I mean, Jimmy's a tall guy, so I think he's gonna definitely stand out, and the eyes are just gonna be drawn to him. Condition looks there, so I think he'll do very well in his pro debut. And then in third place, I was struggling so hard with my top three. Like this could go any way. I think all of these guys are fantastic in their own right, and it's so hard to know what we're going to see from both Niall and Blake simply because they haven't been on stage for 2 years. I do expect great things out of both of them. However, it's like, you never know until you see the physique on stage. I think Niall has great muscularity. The shape is just insane, man. The conditions there, like you name it, Niall is checking all of the boxes. I think it's really just going to come down to like one or two shots.
Yeah,
And I think in terms of where I think it may bounce the other person's way is it might just come down to like the tiniest of details, but like maybe like lat width, like for Niall. I think that may be like the one thing, just because he has great arms, great density, like the legs are super dense and super big, and he's such a tiny waist. I think maybe these guys who I have ahead of him are just going to be a little bit wider in the lats, and that may be like the one thing. But I'm splitting hairs here. Like Niall's good enough to win this show, honestly. So I'm going to go with Niall.
No, you're not off, man. You're bang on. Making that decision in a sense, like it coming down to like one to two things. The top three, in my opinion, is going to be the same thing. It's very tight.
And then in second, I'm going to go with Herman Pastor out of Spain. Again, the most accomplished guy in this lineup. He's been to the Olympia multiple times. I think his condition is going to be there. Muscle maturity is there. And again, could win the show. He's that good. I think the one place where he might be vulnerable is perhaps in terms of getting beat structurally. And I mean, he's got good structure, but it's not great structure. And I would say the one guy in this lineup who I think can beat him structurally is going to be Blake Course. So Blake's going to be my pick to win. I think Blake is just the best guy in terms of structure. He's complete. The density's there. The muscle maturity's there. The lines are crisp. He knows how to present his physique very well. He's very polished on stage and very poised, confident, like everything you look for in classic. So, Blake's my pick to win, but again, that entire top three, man, it's like, it's splitting hairs. It's going to be really, really close. So those are my picks.
No, I'll be interested to see who gets it, or who's even close. Because I mean, obviously, just comes down to game day. Really brings conditioning out of that top five. And then if everybody's on, it is splitting hairs. I'm just doing my top five right now. One. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm excited for these debuts too.
Yeah. Honestly, my guy. If Greg brings it on Sunday, I have Greg pushing that top five. I have him in fifth place. I'm really hoping he can do that because if he does bring that conditioning, he'll crack that that first call out, and he'll be pushing those guys for sure. I have high hopes for Greg. Obviously he wants a little better placing than Pittsburgh. So yeah. I have him in fifth, and then in fourth, I have is it Andrea?
Oh, Andrea. Yeah.
Andrea. My bad. Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Andrea in fourth. Yes. This kid's posing is just. I think. It's going to be very impressive. And he brings that conditioning, and overall head to toe, he is a complete guy. He is a smaller guy, but still, I feel that he's going to push those guys in the top five. And I have fourth, and then I actually have the German in third. Yeah. I have him in third. Only because between my next two guys, the reason why I have him in third is just because the other two guys ahead of him just have such bigger strength, and one is structure, and then the other one is just a wow factor in the physique. But again, he can move up. This can switch either way too. Once you see them side by side, you obviously really get a feel for who's gonna place where. But I have him in third, and then in second, I agree with you. Yeah, one punch is. I have him in second. I keep forgetting his name. I'm sorry for that. My bad. I just keep seeing his stuff on Instagram. So that's why I can't remember his damn name. But yeah, he has.
Niall's not going to be offended at all, man.
I know.
He's
Sorry,
a
Niall.
very humble, gracious guy. He'll be happy that you even mentioned him, man.
Yeah, but he deserves. All the recognition. That's a very impressive physique for sure. And I have him battling for first, no doubt. But you made a good point about the back, and again, you can jump into that first place spot too. But I do think. The size game is gonna just outweigh his very impressive physique. I have my guy Blake in first, and I have Blake really. Yeah, there's a lot of size there. And on game day, I don't think Blake's gonna miss. Him and Cameron have been working very hard this whole prep. And all off season, obviously. And they're going for gold, obviously. And I don't see Blake not winning. So Blake's number one for me, and then. But Niall can push him. Niall's going to push him. And so I think German is going to push him as well. Those guys are all going to battle. It's going to be a really good show. And this top five can bounce around. But I think you're going to see Greg and Niall battling for one and two for sure.
Yeah. So those are my picks. Those are Cody's picks. And so that's going to conclude it. But before we get out of here, again, if you guys want to stream the show, I'll put that in the description. You guys can purchase it here on TorontoProShow.com. And then also make sure you guys go give Cody a follow. It's Cody_Amey on Instagram. Use all of his codes. HD Muscle, Flag Nor Fail. He's even got his own code for the cookie company there. Like,
yes, sir.
He's got it all.
Yes, sir.
So make sure you guys support him there. And before we get out of here, I want to make sure that Cody gets his chance to give anybody some shout outs.
Oh no, man! I appreciate you. Get me on here and stuff. Give me some time to get my opinion on this. I'm myself. I'm just happy to be here. Very blessed every day. Ever since I turned pro in 2020. I don't take any for granted and stuff. And I'm happy that I can represent the IFBB Pro and compete as a class competitor. I do take that seriously. I'm a serious competitor. And So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man. I definitely could not have anybody besides a great Canadian bodybuilder preview the Toronto Pro, so it was only right. But that is going to do it for the preview today, guys. Again, a big thanks to Cody here. But that is going to do it. I'm going to sign out. This is Brant, and that's Cody. Make sure you guys keep it classy.
See you guys.
We'll catch you later.
See you guys.